All right, welcome back to the Joe Rogan Experience. Today, we're talking about the future of transportation, hydrogen fuel cells, fossil fuel cells, and everything in between. And who better to discuss this with than Donald J. Trump? So,
Joe, it's a tremendous honor to be here. Let me tell you something. Nobody knows fuel cells better than me. Hydrogen, fossil fuels. I know them all. They're very powerful, very tremendous.
Don, do you think people even know what fuel cells are?
Joe, I'll tell you, most people have no idea, none. But I know because I'm a very smart guy. A lot of people are saying fuel cells could be big, but are they really the future?
Exactly. Jamie, pull it up.
A fuel cell generates electricity through a chemical reaction, not combustion. Unlike traditional engines that burn fuel and emit pollutants, fuel cells are cleaner and more efficient. But here's the twist. Fuel cells can run on hydrogen or even fossil fuels. Both power the same tech, but with very different impacts. People say fuel cells are the future, but which fuel will lead the way? Hydrogen or fossil fuel? Let's find out.
So, Don, does this sound like something you'd invest in?
Look, Joe, I love innovation. I really do. But I'll tell you, the infrastructure, we got to talk about that.
All right, Elon, you know a thing or two about this. What's the deal with hydrogen fuel cells?
Joe, honestly, hydrogen fuel cells are kind of dumb. The efficiency loss is insane. It's like trying to power a spaceship with banana peels. But hey, Jamie, pull that up. Let's look at how these things work.
During the operation of the cell, hydrogen gas is passed over the anode. On the surface of the anode, due to the catalytic activity of platinum, hydrogen gas splits into hydrogen atoms. These hydrogen atoms undergo oxidation. That is, they liberate electrons. The liberated electrons travel through the external circuit and reach the cathode, while the hydrogen ions travel towards the cathode through the proton exchange membrane. This membrane allows the movement of hydrogen ions only, but not electrons. Oxygen is passed over the cathode. At the cathode, oxygen molecules split up into oxygen atoms. These oxygen atoms combine with hydrogen ions and electrons to form water. The formed water comes out as a byproduct through a separate outlet. This process involves the liberation of heat. Excess hydrogen gas at the anode passes out through an outlet.
Let us see what Joe and boys have to say.
All right, The Rock, we start talking fuel cells. What is your idea?
Joe, I power my workouts with pure energy, but I want to know which one of these is actually the future. Hydrogen or fossil fuels?
Jamie, pull it up.
In a solid oxide fuel cell, SOFC, the fuel typically consists of hydrogen and carbon monoxide derived from fossil fuels such as natural gas through a process called reforming. The fuel enters at the anode, where it reacts with oxide ions from the electrolyte. Hydrogen produces water, thereby releasing electrons, and carbon monoxide produces carbon dioxide, also releasing electrons. Both products are then removed from the system. The flow of electrons through the external circuit generates electric current. On the other side of the fuel cell, the oxidant, usually oxygen or air, is fed to the cathode. Oxygen accepts electrons from the external circuit to form oxide ions. The electrolyte conducts these ions between the electrodes. The reaction repeats. Oxide ions react with hydrogen and carbon monoxide to form water and carbon dioxide, releasing electrons and maintaining the overall electric charge balance. As long as fuel and air are supplied, the electric fuel cell continues converting chemical energy into electrical energy, providing a direct electric current.
Snoop, my man, we so deep in it. Hydrogen versus fossil fuel cells. What is your take?
Joel, let me tell you something, man. Hydrogen, that clean energy. Sounds smooth, but fuel cells, less change, less hassle. They slide into the system we already got. Infrastructure's already there. And the efficiency. Crazy, man. Hydrogen's got big dreams, but fuel cells are doing their thing right now. Jamie, pull up the studies.
Let's start with hydrogen fuel cells. The first article we are examining is titled Optimizing Solid Oxide Fuel Cell Performance to Reevaluate Its Role in the Mobility Sector by Lucas Whirl and was published in the American Chemical Society Environmental AU in 2022. Whirl supports hydrogen fuel cells as a clean and efficient alternative for mobility. The article argues that with the right design, they can deliver high energy efficiency, low emissions, and strong power output, making them viable for decarbonizing transport. The article presents hydrogen fuel cells as technically competitive and scalable, aligning with future energy goals. The second article we are examining is titled The Role of Hydrogen Fuel Cells in Achieving Road Transport Decarbonization, a case study from Taiwan by Wei Xuan Chen and others, published in the International Journal for Hydrogen in 2024. Chen acknowledges the potential for hydrogen but highlights major barriers to adoption, including high costs, infrastructure gaps, and system inefficiencies. The article argues that despite their promise, hydrogen fuel cells are not yet ready for mass deployment, especially in regions lacking supportive policy and investment. Now let's move on to fossil fuel cells. The next article is titled Progress and Outlook for Solid Oxide Fuel Cells for Transportation Applications by Paul Boldrin, published in the Nature Catalysis in 2019. Boldrin supports fuel cells that run on hydrocarbon fuels like methane as a transitional solution. He argues that fossil fuel cells can leverage existing fuel infrastructure while still offering higher efficiency and lower emissions than internal combustion engines, making them practical for near-term decarbonization, especially where hydrogen is unavailable. Finally, let's examine the last article, titled Challenges and Opportunities of Hydrogen Energy Applications in Public Transportation in the Post-Epidemic Period, by Chunhua Zhu, published in HSS Communications 2024. Zhu argues that relying on fossil fuels in any form, even in fuel cells, delays the clean energy transition. The article frames fossil fuel-based fuel cells as a half measure that sustains carbon emissions, limits long-term sustainability, and risks locking systems into outdated infrastructure instead of pushing forward to full hydrogen adoption. Based on this comparison, we believe that hydrogen fuel cells are the clear long-term solution for clean and sustainable transport due to their zero emissions and high efficiency. However, fossil fuel-based fuel cells can serve as a practical, short-term bridge thanks to existing infrastructure and readiness.
All right, here's the question. Which one is the future?
Joe, hydrogen is the future. It's clean, powerful, and the technology is moving fast. The government needs to step up and get serious about infrastructure.
Joe, look at the numbers. The emissions are basically zero. Hydrogen refuels fast, and if we invest in clean production, it's unbeatable. Hydrogen fuel cells are kind of dumb. The efficiency loss is insane. It's like trying to power a spaceship with banana peels. But hey.
Joe, fossil fuel cells are more efficient, they use existing infrastructure, and they're ready now. Hydrogen has too many conversion losses. We don't have time to wait.
Joe, fossil fuel cells are that steady, reliable energy, man. No refueling stations. No crazy storage issues. It just works, dog.
Looks like we are split, man. Let's talk to the real expert.
Mother Nature.
No pickle, and they give me the McPickle Pounder.
Oh, barnacles! This is a tough one, Joe. Fossil fuel cells. Super efficient, ready now, and fit our system. But they still burn fossil fuels, so CO2 is hanging around like jellyfish stings. Hydrogen? Clean as a fresh Krabby Patty, but it's pricey. So fossil fuel cells make sense for now to cut emissions while we scale up green hydrogen for the long haul. Best of both worlds. Efficiency today, zero emissions tomorrow. Mother Nature's a mad scientist, baby.